Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Now, history is replete with examples of how research in hardcore scientific streams leads to the development of various aspects of science. Hence, it is not wise to view them separately. This insightful thought, supported by examples from history and even the present, comes from Dr. P. Balaram. We'll get you more details on that, but first let's take a look at the headlines. Country celebrates National Science Day. The genius of Sir C.V. Raman remembered. Science is inevitable for nation building. Dr. P. Balaram endorses this theme in his speech. Watch out for mirror movements. It could be an early warning of Parkinson's. With the superior nanopore water filters from IISc, 100% safe water now closer to reality. And in today's In Focus, we discuss the significance of light as the United Nations declare 2015 to be the International Year of Light. It was a celebration of science and technology. Commemorating the contributions of Sir C.V. Raman, the country celebrated yet another National Science Day on 28th of February. So how was the day celebrated across the country? Let us find out.
Like every year, the country on 28th February celebrated the National Science Day with great enthusiasm and cheer. The day saw a plethora of activities across the nation, including seminars, debates, quiz competitions, exhibitions and lectures involving college and school students, teachers and researchers. The programs and activities were centered on the theme Science for Nation Building. The theme was aimed at raising public appreciation on scientific issues for the development of the nation. The National Council for Science and Technology Communication, the nodal agency coordinating National Science Day celebrations, organized a variety of activities to promote this cause. On this occasion, the former director of the Indian Institute of Science, Dr. P. Balaram, delivered the National Science Day lecture on Science for Nation Building. Extending the celebrations, the NCSTC distributed the National Awards for the year 2014 on 2nd March for outstanding contributions towards science and technology popularization. The winners of the awards for the year 2014 include Dr. P.S. Shankar, Gulbarga, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Goswami, Tezpur, Dr. S. Narendran, Tanjavur, and MM Publications Limited, Kottayam, for outstanding efforts in science and technology communication through the print media, including books and magazines. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Muktangan Exploratory Science Centre, Pune, Dr. Shripal Rathi, Muzaffarnagar, Shri Abhijit Sarma Barua, Guwahati, Shri Parveen Singh, Jammu, and Shri Prem Singh, Sangrur, for outstanding efforts in science and technology popularization amongst children. Shri Anil Kumar Sharma, Ludhiana, for outstanding efforts in science and technology communication through innovative and traditional methods. And Shri Saraswati Chandra Acharya, Ahmedabad. And Dr. A. Sabaya Pandi, Chennai, for outstanding efforts in science and technology communication in the electronic medium.
No doubt our science have made commendable achievements. Science is one which doesn't have either religion or a regional feeling. It's common for the universe.
The winners were presented an award amount of 1 lakh rupees, a memento and a citation by the Minister of State for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Shri Y.S. Chaudhary.
The National Science Day lecture is the most awaited event on 28th of February every year, as renowned scientists and researchers share their views and experiences with the nation. Science is elemental to nation building. Endorsing this theme for this year's National Science Day, former Director of Indian Institute of Science, Dr. P. Balram, delivered an insightful lecture in New Delhi. Let us get you more details.
From food, water and energy security to education and healthcare, the world and the country in general today grapples with a multitude of issues. As the public and governments across the globe strive to find sustainable solutions to these challenges, the only solution that emerges is science. Science is the only tool that can solve the problems of hunger and poverty, of insanitation and illiteracy. The future belongs to science and those who make friends with science. These are the famous words of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The idea was also brought home by the National Science Day lecture that was delivered by Professor P. Balram, the former director of the Indian Institute of Science.
Many other methods are taught to students, and maybe the Raman effect is taught in passing. But having paid my tribute to Raman, it's a very, very profound finding that Raman made in the 1920s, and I think we haven't ever seen another fundamental discovery of this nature.
Speaking on the focal theme of this year's National Science Day, Science for Nation Building, Professor Balram drew attention to the contributions of science and how they have changed the world as we see it today.
Did the physicists like X-rays? The physicists did not really take to X-rays very quickly. It took some years before Max von Laue demonstrated the diffraction of X-rays from crystals. It was only then that X-ray diffraction became commonly applied subsequently with the work of Braggs in all kinds of material science and chemistry. But it was the medical practitioners who immediately saw the utility of the Roentgen rays, and that is how X-rays entered medical practice very, very early.
The lecture was organized by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi on 28th February.
Parkinson's disease is a slow, silent killer that dooms its victims to years of inefficiency and suffering. With the exact cause still unknown, early diagnosis of Parkinson's is something that haunts physicians and patients worldwide. Now, a team of researchers from Kolkata has come up with the results that indicate that mirror movements may actually be an early clue to Parkinson's. The research offers a ray of hope for early diagnosis and management of this disease.
PD, idiopathic Parkinsonism, hypokinetic rigid syndrome or paralysis agitans. Parkinson's is a disease with many names. A degenerative disorder of the central nervous system, Parkinson's is caused by the death of dopamine-generating cells in the midbrain. With less and less dopamine, the hormone and neurotransmitter crucial for regulating many body functions, a person has less and less ability to regulate their movements and emotions. While it is estimated that currently 7 to 10 million people worldwide are living with Parkinson's disease, the exact cause of death of dopamine cells remains unknown. Parkinson's is a slow killer. With the progression of the severity painfully slow, most people's symptoms take years to develop and they live for years with the disease. Under these circumstances, doctors and researchers worldwide are unanimous on the point that early detection of Parkinson's can lead to better management of the disease and improving the life quality of patients. Now, in a breakthrough, researchers of the Institute of Neurosciences, Kolkata, in collaboration with the College of Medicine and Sagar Datta Hospital and Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research, have developed a methodology to identify the onset of Parkinson's.
My research has based on to know how to know the early features of Parkinson's disease, because many patients comes to us with no awareness and they come quite late in the disease. So is there any clinical sign that can tell us that yes, the patient has early Parkinson's disease or they are at risk of developing Parkinson's disease.
The researchers involved in the study have evaluated and compared the mirror movements in PD patients and healthy volunteers. In neurobiology, mirror movements refer to involuntary movements that follow voluntary activity on the opposite side of the body. The scientists also compared the mirror movements in the subjects when they were given levodopa, a drug used to treat PD. Based on their studies, these researchers conclude that though often ignored, mirror movements in people are early clinical signs of Parkinson's. The team has also found that while a small set of PD patients show mirroring in the lower limbs, this phenomena is more common in the upper limbs. The study paves the way for the early diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. Though the symptom, that is, experiencing involuntary movements of the opposite limbs during activities, may not confer Parkinson's, it is surely a warning to get early diagnosis and treatment.
Waterborne diseases may soon be a thing of past as water filters go nano. The new superior water filter membranes developed by the Indian Institute of Science claim to filter out the tiniest of impurities and eliminate even the nano-sized pathogens from your drinking water. Take a look.
Yes, we all know the importance of clean and safe drinking water. Most of us even use water purifiers and RO systems in our households. But despite the elaborate measures we follow to purify our drinking water, falling ill because of diarrhea, cholera, jaundice and typhoid is not uncommon. Even if you consume purified water, you may develop a bad bout of dysentery. The culprit may be nanoscale impurities which may not be filtered out, or the pathogenic bacteria called E. coli that can thrive even in purified water. Now, to combat this double threat and ensure 100% pure drinking water, a team of researchers from the Indian Institute of Science has developed a superior water filter. Under the guidance of Dr. Surya Sarathi Bose, makes use of a very novel nanoporous membrane to filter out the smallest impurities and microbes.
We have designed a unique membrane which can actually filter water and also can kill some of the commonly found pathogens in the drinking water, that is E. coli. So we have adopted a unique strategy here, so where we have mixed two polymer systems which are actually miscible at high temperature, which means that they are melt miscible, and when you actually cool them, one of the phases crystallizes. So therefore, there is a unique kind of phase separation where one of the phase crystallizes from the melt and the other phase segregates in the amorphous regions. So now by selectively removing one of the phases, one can actually develop unique nanoporous structures which we thought to use it for separation technology.
The filtering membrane has been made using two polymers, polyvinylidene fluoride and polymethyl methacrylate. The membrane has fine pores and channels of the size is 50 nanometers. This fine nano-sized porous structure can prevent bacteria from passing through the pores, as bacteria are typically micron-sized as well as nanoscale impurities and dust particles. The membrane also has a coating of silver, titanium dioxide and carbon nanotubes. All the three materials are known to kill the pathogenic E. coli bacteria present in water. The novel filter, besides offering increased purity, also has other advantages. According to the researchers, the membrane can easily be used to enhance the efficiency of an RO membrane usually used in household filters. The nanopored membrane is an advanced technology more efficient than the micron-sized filters currently available. The results of this study have been published in the Journal of Materials Chemistry.
And now it is time to take a short break. We'll be right back. Keep watching Science Monitor. Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
The recently presented Union Budget has allocated 6,000 crore rupees for the Department of Space, placing a major thrust on launch vehicle technology projects. Of the 6,000 crore rupees, 2,148 crore rupees has been allocated for developments in this direction, while 651 crore rupees will be used for total launch support and tracking satellites. For operations of the INSAT programs, including GSAT and INSAT satellites, 1,281 crore rupees has been allocated. To launch a heavy communication satellite, GSAT-15, with 40 transponders, 165 crore rupees has been allocated. In an interesting event that was organized by the Jayam Ideal Youth Organization towards raising awareness against deforestation, about 1,000 people, including school children dressed up as trees, participated in a rally. The rally, which started from Mumbai's Azad Maidan, marched through Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus and concluded at the popular Gateway of India. The event won the Guinness record for the most people dressed as trees. The 4-day agricultural fair Agri-Talk India exhibition organized by Infocom World was recently conducted in Rajkot, Gujarat between 2nd and 5th March. The exhibition was aimed at showcasing the latest technological advancements, products and services in the field of agriculture and transfer of technology to provide business opportunities. Many ideas like solar pumps and organic farming were presented during the event. In a one-of-its-kind medical procedure, a heart retrieved from a brain-dead patient was airlifted from one South Indian state to another to save a life. The heart of a 30-year-old labourer declared brain-dead was airlifted from Pradhan Mantri's Swasthya Suraksha Yojana Hospital in Bengaluru to a patient in Yashoda Hospital in Hyderabad. Physicians across the nation are seeing this as a promising step towards creating awareness regarding organ donation.
Ever imagined a world without light? No? Well then, just think how depressing a gloomy winter day is. Now think of that as a constant in your life. Because light is constantly available to us, we seldom pause to think how light affects our life and the world around us. From plants to animals to humans, all living organisms depend on light as much as they do on food, water and air. For once, let us acknowledge the importance of light as United Nations declares 2015 as the International Year of Light and Light-Based Technologies. Let us explore the various aspects in our next segment, In Focus.
The importance of light has been realized by mankind since thousands of years, with sun and fire as the main source of light and energy. Many celestial phenomena like rainbows, blue color of the sky, and the red color of the sun at sunset and sunrise always fascinated them. The mystery of light and darkness was something that puzzled the early philosophers, who tried to demystify it. The next was to understand the properties of light, such as its rectilinear propagation, reflection and refraction. This was followed by the phenomena of interference, diffraction and polarization. The scientific understanding of light and vision, the true nature of light and the speed of light were other important themes that provided new insights. The scientific investigations in optics and light opened the door to light-based technologies with the discovery of the electric light in 1800, followed by the invention of the electric bulb. The invention of the laser in the 1960s, as one of the most fascinating sources of light, has given rise to new areas of research and applications in almost every sphere of human life. More recently, the development of LEDs has provided a new source of environment-friendly light, which will replace the conventional incandescent light sources. It is now being well recognized that light and light-based technologies are very important in the lives of mankind and for the future development of global society. In order to address the challenges of sustainable development, energy and community health, as well as for improving the quality of life in both developed and developing countries, the need for global awareness of science and technologies of light is greatly felt. Also, it is now very evident that the science and technologies of light are vital for addressing the existing as well as future challenges in medicine, energy, information and communications, fiber optics, agriculture, mining, astronomy, architecture, archaeology, entertainment, art and culture, as well as many other industries and services, and that light-based technologies contribute to the fulfillment of internationally agreed development goals, including by providing access to information and increasing societal health and well-being. Considering also that technology and design can play an important role in the achievement of greater energy efficiency, in particular by limiting energy waste and in the reduction of light pollution, which is key to the preservation of dark skies. Noting that 2015 coincides with the anniversaries of a series of important milestones in the history of the science of light, including the works on optics by Ibn al-Haytham in 1015, the notion of light as a wave propagated by Fresnel in 1815, the electromagnetic theory of light propagation proposed by Maxwell in 1865, Einstein's theory of the photoelectric effect in 1905, and of the embedding of light in cosmology through general relativity in 1915, the discovery of the cosmic microwave background by Penzias and Wilson, and Cow's achievements concerning the transmission of light in fibers for optical communication, both in 1965. It is particularly important to note that the year 2015 marks the 1000th anniversary since the appearance of the remarkable 7-volume treatise on optics, Kitab al-Manzir, or Book of Optics, written by the Arab scientist Ibn al-Haytham. Born around 1000 years ago in present-day Iraq, Al-Hasan ibn al-Haytham, known in the West by the Latinized form of his first name, initially Al-Hasan and later Al-Hazan, was a pioneering scientific thinker who made important contributions to the understanding of vision, optics and light. His methodology of investigation, in particular using experiment to verify a theory, shows certain similarities to what later became known as a modern scientific method. Through his book and its Latin translation, De Aspectibus, his ideas influenced European scholars, including those of the European Renaissance. Today, many consider him a pivotal figure in the history of optics and the father of modern optics. Considering that the celebration of the anniversaries of these discoveries in 2015 would provide an important opportunity to highlight the continuous nature of scientific discovery in different contexts, with particular emphasis on women's empowerment in the science sector and on promoting science education among young people, especially in developing countries.
And what are the contributions of science to this week's history? We shall learn in our next segment, History of Science.
Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin, the first human to travel to space, was born on 9th March 1934 in the village of Klushino in Russia. Yuri Gagarin, a senior lieutenant in the Soviet Air Force, became the first man to travel into space when his Vostok spacecraft completed an orbit of the Earth on 12th April 1961. Udupi Ramchandra Rao, renowned Indian space scientist, was born on 10th March 1932 in Admaru, Karnataka. He is the former chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization and was the first chairman of Prasar Bharati. He has made immense contributions towards understanding solar cosmic ray phenomena and has guided the design and launch of over 18 satellites, along with the first Indian satellite, Aryabhat, in 1975. Albert Einstein, the world-renowned theoretical physicist and philosopher of science, was born on 14 March 1879 in Ulm, Germany. Einstein, considered the most genius researcher ever, developed the general theory of relativity, one of the two pillars of modern physics, and discovered the photoelectric effect. He also gave the world's most famous equation for mass energy, E is equal to mc squared. For his outstanding contributions to science, Einstein was honored with the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us, how do you like our program? You can send your feedback and suggestions. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Subha TV and think scientific.